Hello, hello, hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, my brother. How are you?
I'm not doing too fine. England is leading Senegal 2-0.
Let the better team win. That's all. Let the better team win. So we have we're waiting for 2 more people, right?
Yes.
Hello.
Hello, Miss Yetunde. How are you?
I'm fine.
All
I'm
right.
dead. Hello, Bongo. I'm sleepy.
in this Texas afternoon.
I'm sleepy, and I'm trying, but I'm awake. Let's talk. We are waiting.
Who else are we waiting on? Who else are we waiting on?
Mr. Olushola, right?
Yes, I cannot reach out to him right now because I'm using my phone for the. I'm greeting everyone. Oh, Sexy J, I greet you. I greet you. We are just on our program. We have this weekly program that we do on Sunday. Every Sunday as regards Mashiwaju's election in Nigeria 2023. So we talk about the manifesto. So if anyone can please reach out to Mr. Olushola Ojo so that we can get this started. Well, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, everyone. My name is Ayodeji Bakare, popularly known as Bongoli, and I'm wishing everybody a happy Sunday. So today, as you guys know, we have our Tinubu Shettima pitch the plan, Renewed Hope 2023, the manifesto. So this is where we break down Ashwaji's manifesto. It's a program. We started this program, I think, 3-4 weeks back, and this is episode 4. The first episode was an overall, just an overview of the whole manifesto, which has about 10, almost 20 different segments, and we've been taking them one after the other. So as you guys can see, starting from page 5 is on security. Page 11 is on economy, which we spoke about last week. Now, this week we are speaking on agriculture. So we're going to be speaking on agriculture this week. And we're supposed to have a Greek expert here, but she called in and said she was going to join us because she's having some personal issues to take care of at this time. So without further ado, while we are waiting for Mr. Oluseyi Ojo, and we are also waiting on our rep, our special guest, we hope that she can make it, you know. Let's see. What page? Agriculture, page 20.
From 27.
27.
From 26, no. Actually.
So I have the manifesto in my head, dude. I have the manifesto in my head, dude. I have Atiku's manifesto in my head. Atiku is 74 pages, so I'll tell you all the pages. So I have the Obi manifesto that came out yesterday. I have everything, no. The 72 pages. I have everything in my head, though. I'll give you everything where everything is, oh. Everything.
Don't be angry. Don't be angry.
What can pass? All right, guys. So this is how we are going to go about this today. So Yetunde is going to be our Greek personnel today, because a lot of people don't know that she wears loads of hats. She wears healthcare hats. She wears education hats. She wears agricultural hats. She wears so many hats. So today she'll be wearing an agricultural hat. So please don't go to other places. Just agree today, man. All right, then how we are going to do this is I'm going to read just the preface of what the manifesto talks about as regards agriculture, just like a background and all of that. And Madam Yetunde will be bringing up. We just want you to brief us on where we are in agriculture in Nigeria today, and you can always make reference to Lagos State, because the modern Lagos of today is the brainchild of our principal. And we talk about where we were, where we are with the Buhari administration, and where we are headed.
Yes.
So, and then I'm going to be bringing up the different aspects of the manifesto. Like I'll just call like a certain section, and then you could just explain what you think it is all about. So we're also trying to keep to time. So we're not going to be doing the 1 hour, 45, 2 hours, because it's been giving me issues in trying to upload. I've been trying to upload the one that we did last week in the economy for like 5 days. I've been battling with it, so I have to cut it. I hope it's fully uploaded now, though. I'm still fighting with it. So you guys should bear with me. It's going to be a quick one. All right. Historically, Nigeria has been an agricultural nation. Even today, a little less than half the people live in rural communities,
Yes.
earning their livelihoods from the soil and in the process helping to feed the nation. However, only 35% of arable land in Nigeria is presently cultivated. Our target shall be to increase this number to 65% in 4 years. Improvement in the agricultural sector has been encouraging under the Buhari administration. We shall continue the progress by enhancing agricultural productivity, agro-allied industry, food security, and farm incomes. To improve food security, domestic production of food must significantly exceed the growth of our already large population. Overworked soil, communal instability, and climate change are but a few of the key challenges we face. The Nigerian farmer is among the most resilient and industrious on earth. For decades, they have struggled and toiled under adverse conditions, yet they produced ample harvest. With the unprecedented aid given by the present government, the agricultural sector has been strongly revived. A vibrant agricultural sector will bring more investment opportunities for enterprising Nigerians, including our youth, and help diversify our economy away from the oil and gas dependence. Global uncertainties of recent years, such as COVID-19 and the Russo-Ukrainian conflict, further underscore the need to ensure substantial food security for our nation. For example, I'm just adding this here, wheat, for example, because Nigeria imports over 80% of our wheat. I stand to be corrected. And because of this war, I was able to realize or find out that Ukraine actually supplies a large quantity of wheat to the world. They are one of the largest producers of wheat in the world. Our goal shall be to grow more than we need, more than what we need, so that we may export the excess and alter our balance of trade. A Tinubu government will build on the foundation laid by the current administration. We vow to help the farmer and his community in new and significant ways that usher in a true and complete rebirth of Nigerian agriculture. So before we begin to talk about the goals and all of that, now, Madam Yetunde, tell us, where is Nigeria in agriculture?
Hello, everyone.
In 5 minutes. In 5 minutes.
Okay. Let me try to put it this way. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. From what Bongoli just shared, that is just to put it in a like a quick summary. But one thing about agriculture in Nigeria is that we failed over the years, despite the fact that agriculture used to be our main source of revenue before oil. But we failed over the years to invest in it and to encourage people to go into more mechanized farming instead of just my family land kind of farming. We neglected it. But what we know is that 36% of Nigeria's workforce is in agriculture. Not in any other industry, is agriculture. Agriculture actually happens to be the largest industry in Nigeria that is employer of labor. A lot of people, especially women, are employed through agriculture. That's what they do. But, you know, I've always said that our society also, we have this elitist mentality because when we think of farmers, we think of agribusiness, agriculture. We don't think about the value chain of agriculture. And I hope that today we'll be able to discuss more on it. Talking about this administration, what has the administration currently been doing? A lot of our regulatory frameworks have been revamped. And that's why we have foreign investors actually coming to buy our land to invest in agriculture, even though our home people don't want to do it. Besides, of course, people like Dangote or the BUA, they are doing all of that. But there is money in agriculture. We'll talk more statistics and everything as time goes on. Currently, our agriculture actually contributes 24% of our GDP, to Nigeria's GDP. Most of the things we produce, we consume, we don't export. We are trying to get to the level where we don't only feed ourselves, we actually feed the rest of Africa and the rest of the world. Going back to what Bongoli said about wheat, yes, that is true. More than 90% of our wheat that we consume in Nigeria is imported. It used to be that our rice that we eat in Nigeria used to be mostly imported. Now we have less than 100 million metric tons that we actually import. We don't really import rice. We are self-sufficient. The only reason we are having challenges when it comes to rice, the pricing and everything, is because we also have saboteurs amongst us as citizens of Nigerians that have no patriotism at all. We are also sabotaging a lot of the effort of the government by hoarding, by doing price gouging. At the same time, I won't put the blame on the citizens themselves. I will also put the blame on the government because they failed in their own oversight duty to make sure that people are not being taken advantage of. We will talk more on how Asiwaju plans to address situations like this so we don't deal with that. And then we'll also talk about the challenges that our farmers are facing from climate change effect that is affecting their crops and their land, to financing, which is the major thing, and to, of course, infrastructure, which the Buhari administration has been helping and the Tinubu administration is planning to do more on. Because what is the essence of me spending all my life savings to go into agribusiness, but once I harvest, transporting that from my farm to the market, in fact, 90% of my produce is wasted because of the heat and everything and the bad roads, and the trucks are stuck on the highway because they can't get to the farm. So these are the things that Asiwaju actually highlighted what he wants to do, how he's bringing technology to help with a lot of this, and how they are going to get our agriculture business community into it, partner with them through public-private partnership also, and having the commodity boards to have a minimum pricing for a lot of our essential crops. So we will get there.
Hold on. Let me deviate a little bit before we begin to talk about the community boards, because that is the first thing we are going to talk about. So I want you to explain what community board is and what it will do for our people and all of that stuff. Now.
Okay. You want me to talk about it now or not later?
No. I'll ask now.
Okay.
I will talk about the saboteurs. Now, for the saboteurs, guys, this is what she was trying to say. Now, you know the Buhari administration has this anchor borrowers program. So with the Anchor Borrowers Program, they give you money, they give you loans at very low interest rate as compared to, for example, right now, the current interest rate, interbank interest rate is about 16.5%. So they are giving them at 5 to 7%. And they are also giving them seeds. So what some of these patriotic Nigerian farmers are doing is that they begin to ship them abroad to sell.
Yes.
Because selling outside of Nigeria is much more profitable at this time. So
yes.
Then whatever is left is what they push into the market. And when you push that into the market, then you begin to have a situation of demand is higher than supply. And when demand is higher than supply, it only pushes the prices. So that is on us. Guys, we begin to talk about oversight and all that. How many people can the government oversight? Guys, in fact, just 5-6 months back, the CBN said that with the Anchor Borrowers Program, that the farmers are owing CBN about 850 billion naira that they have not paid back.
Yes.
Now the question is, why haven't they paid back? If we used to import annually, like in 2015, like 1.2 billion US dollars of rice, and in 2020 it was less than 20 million. Like now we are the largest exporter of rice in Africa when we used to be the largest importer. Why can't they pay that money back? Guys, these are the questions that need answering. These are questions that is like, I'm not trying to point fingers and all. Now, I want to ask you a question that is outside of this, because you're saying that you want to push, or you are pushing for, you want to increase, okay, our GDP, agriculture is 24% and all of that stuff. I don't know if you are aware of what's going on in the cocoa industry in West Africa. We all know that Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire are they contribute over 60% of the global cocoa. The global cocoa is Ghana and Ivory Coast. And I think cocoa sells for about around $2,400 per ton. That's how much cocoa is selling for at this time. Now, I read in an article somewhere, and it's saying that, okay, fine, everybody go into farming. If we all go into farming, prices of food will drop. But when prices of food drop, how will we be able to make money? Because now everybody is farming, everybody is pushing material out there. So you begin to have more supply than demand. So how do you make money from it? This is an educational conversation here, this particular question I'm asking. So immediately I ask this, immediately you're able to give me your thoughts. And Barrister Bisiriyu, I know you are a lawyer, yes, but this question goes to you also. I want to see what you're going to say about this. So then we'll now go to the community boards, grain reserves and food storage, all the things that Shiwaju had. But I just want to get your view in 2 minutes. What do you think with the question I asked? Because it's a problem in the cocoa industry right now, in Ivory Coast and in Cote d'Ivoire. And if we are pushing for, okay, agriculture, we need to make more than what we need to make more than what we need, and then begin to export. So tell me. Okay.
One thing first, we need to understand that cocoa industry is so big that the growth rate of it is actually about 3.1% annual growth rate. They don't have enough cocoa. There's no enough cocoa. There's not enough cocoa for chocolate, right? Like, seriously. In fact, it's affected the price we pay for chocolate. So just let me throw that out there. Just because Ivory Coast, Ghana, and Nigeria, technically, Nigeria is actually one of the three in West Africa that actually have the favorable weather for cocoa. We might say Ivory Coast and Ghana already took 60%. Well, then what happens to the 40%? That is a big market. When you think about 3.1% annual growth rate, that's a lot. That is a lot. So you shouldn't say, oh, well, they are already doing it. How are we going to make? We in Nigeria ourselves, we need cocoa, right? is whatever is left. This is a country of over about 200, and last count was about 217 million people. So you know, even for us, that is a lot. And Nigeria's growth rate is about 3.6% annual growth rate for our population. So a lot of for Nigeria alone, we can't even we can't even satisfy Nigeria right now, not to talk of even exporting. Remember now that you already have a ready-made market in Africa's largest population, which is Nigeria. Whatever you do in agriculture, whether the raw material part of it or the value chain part of it, everything you break down. Because when people think of agri, when you are saying, oh, well, I don't want to do agriculture because I will go to the farm. Well, you're only thinking on the surface of farming, that you are, okay, the only option you have is to farm. You don't have to. There are other values that come with agriculture. From cassava, for example, they still have all the things that they can break down from it. There's gari. Besides that, there are industrial use for the starch and everything that you can go into business for. There are people that are actually using when they get the starch, they ship it out. There's market for that. Same thing with corn. There's ethanol. There's market for ethanol. There's market for industrial sugar. All those things, these are things you can get from agriculture. Not to now talk of the number one reason for agriculture in Nigeria is feeding ourselves. And to tell you this, I actually happened from a personal experience. We did the consulting stuff, and then we had to compare 3 countries. And I tried because I had to do due diligence so that it won't seem like I'm being partial. I'm picking Nigeria over countries like Ethiopia, and it was Ethiopia and Tanzania that I compared. Besides the fact that, okay, they have better, ranking when it comes to corruption, everything. You cannot compare Nigeria because of the volume, because of the population. The volume is there. Whatever business you do in Nigeria, whatever business government can create an enabling environment for you to do, you cannot lose, especially in agriculture. Just always keep in mind that you are not only talking about feeding yourself or just few people, you are talking about multiple people. And when we have more people going to agriculture, it also drives down the price. When there's competition in the market, the prices go down. Look at when, for example, when MTN just came to Nigeria. I remember that to buy a SIM card for MTN, it was like 40,000 naira or something like that. Now, exactly. Now everywhere is like, is it not 15 naira, 100 naira for something? It's so in the market. And same goes with agriculture. So yes, people can be ahead.
All right, barrister. You have to say something. Oh yeah, what do you think?
All right.
As regards the question I asked.
So in that area, the only thing I would have added, she already mentioned it, that would have been the population. And because we have a lot of people, I believe that having excess food is not a problem. It shouldn't be a problem because we need a lot of people to feed. And because, as she has said also, it is in the agricultural industry that you have a lot of labor, a lot of manual labor there, So when you probably would have most of the proceeds would have been used to feed some of these laborers, even at the onset, before it even gets to the market. Now, there is also the strategic reserve. The country can create a strategic reserve, using new technology. I think Ashiwaju mentioned it somewhere in his manifesto. Where
we are getting there, don't worry, we are getting there, sir.
We'll get there.
So some of the excesses can be kept in reserves, and that's where we need good electricity. We need other improved education for agribusiness, because then it's becoming more of business and income for the country, for the state, for the local government that produces this food. Whichever way we see it, I believe that we have sufficient population to absorb that excess, and if we still have excess, we do a reserve and we sell the rest. Nigeria will still
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. I wasn't trying to cut it short because we have to move. But before we move, I want people to know that when he mentioned storage, that Lagos State already is doing that already. Lagos State is already doing that on a commercial scale. It already has storage facilities. Someone launched one like 3 months back.
Yeah, there are companies also in Nigeria now that actually have that.
Private companies that are doing that now. So guys, that's a business opportunity. Secondly, you talked about ethanol. A lot of people may not be aware that you make ethanol from corn. That agbado that they make fun of Asiwaju, is it for agbado? Is it for corn? That they make fun of him. That is where you make ethanol from. And now let me tell guys something. Do you know that in 2020 or 2021, one of those, I think 2020 or 2020, I can't remember from the top of my head, Nigeria spent over 277 million US dollars to import wine and liquor. Alcoholic drinks. I'll repeat myself again. We spent over 277 million US dollars in importing wine, liquor alone.
And we spent over $2.7 billion in 2021 to import cereal, which is cornflakes that we can produce in Nigeria with corn.
All right, let's move on now, because if we start going there now, you go carry us go where we don't know.
Okay.
You go carry us, we go where we don't know. All right, moving forward, let us speak on the commodity boards. So, Asiwaju is proposing commodity boards. So, just tell the people what that means and what it will mean for Nigeria.
Okay, so
because of time.
Okay. I'll make sure to keep it 2 minutes. All right. So now I know when we started, Bongoli read the part and he mentioned that our farmers are like one of the poorest people in that country. For people that feed us, it is not okay. They don't have to be the richest people, but they should live a decent life. The commodity board, their main role really is not just in research and extension of and development, but they are there to also support with economic and market intelligence, doing labor welfare and all that. That is their role. So what the commodity board would do under Asiwaju's administration is to set minimum pricing for some of our essential crops, like the cashew, the cocoa, sesame seeds, like the cassava, the yam, the soy, those ones, because what happens is, as we've said also, this segment, is that we have Nigerians that also go to our farmers, lowball them, buy this thing cheaply from them, and then ship it out so they can bring the dollar in. Same thing with Gari. Your Gari is expensive also, because we have Nigerians that are taking the Chinese to our farmers, buying it, sending it to China, turning it to Gari in China, and bringing it into Nigeria. So some of the Gari you are eating are coming from China. It is not just sad, it is outrageous. It is actually disheartening that is happening. Unfortunately, that is where we are. And Tinubu's administration now is going to say, you know what, these farmers that are doing this one, this is the minimum, and you cannot lowball them. That is it. Now, besides the minimum, of course, the market will now dictate. Is demand and supply. The market will dictate how much you now pay for, maybe the minimum or higher is to be market. But at least on a minimum level, their role will be to be there. They will need to protect labor welfare for our farmers. They need to be protected, so they are not taken advantage of.
Yes. Thank you very much. So now I'm just going to pitch in something here. So for someone like me, I am a self-trained economist. I call myself that, self-trained economist. Every morning when I wake up, I look at commodity exchange markets. I can tell you what the price of gold is.
Yes.
I have it on my phone. So every day on my phone, I always check commodity price. I know what the sale of 1 gallon of gasoline is. So when I look at the price in Nigeria, I can compare. That is the meaning of that commodity board she's talking about. You know the minimum price. You just go on your phone or go on maybe wherever you guys drop the material, it will be written there. This is the minimum amount you should be selling your 1 kilogram of yam. It's very simple, it's very easy. So the middlemen, because guys, 90% of the food we eat are made from the rural areas. Over 90% of what we are eating in Nigeria, food-wise, is coming from the rural areas. So now the problem here is they are being exploited by the middlemen. It's the middlemen and the unions or the market committee that I mean the big markets. I mean local like food markets, because those associations are the ones that will now put another price cap. Like this is the minimum you should sell it. So them they are doing their own mini commodity exchange in an exploitative manner. So Ashwaju is trying to eliminate that already. So you as the buyer also, you already have access to that information. So you know what you should sell for. So me as the buyer, I know that 1 tuber of yam should be selling for 2,000 naira. No, I mean 1 kilogram, they weigh it. Or 2 kilogram. Because if people that are in the Western world, if you want to buy yam, they say it's per pound. They weigh the yam. They say it's per pound for you. And they will sell it that way. So you know what that price is. The farmer knows what the price is. So he reduces exploitation. He makes our farmers richer. They produce over 90%. And it will make farming, agriculture more attractive. It will bring more people into farming, into agriculture also. Because if I know, okay, they are going to pay me 1,000 naira per ton of onions, for example. That's not the price. So I'm just throwing a number out there. Per 10 pounds of onions or 1 pound of onions or something, I can say, okay, I can invest in this and let's see what happens. Now, moving forward, let us talk about...
Can we quickly say something about, it's or still on that side, the commodity exchange, the benefit of that, you know, because that also gives, Ashwaju mentioned it, and that's at in the last paragraph of commodity board, where it says, working with the private sector, we will also seek to deepen the use of commodity exchange and strengthen their operations in order to ensure even greater transparency and stability. And commodity exchange in the world is where you have a market where a farmer or other producers can get futures. It's a kind of contract where they can talk to, they can have a contract on a produce that has not been done yet. And they can, they can build on that, and the farmer gets his money, produce it, because he's been doing it over the year. He knows how much he's going to get.
It's like stock market. Like stock market, but for commodity. So you can buy futures, you can do your options. If you like to hedge, you can hedge. So all those things you'll be able to do all of that.
You know, because I have to go look it up. When I look at it, I'm like, what's this commodity exchange here? So I think it's
like like stock exchange, but for commodity.
For commodities, and you know, so I just.
So if I understand you guys very well, you are saying that if Yetunde is a farmer, for example, or maybe she's a farmer, I don't know, but Yetunde is a farmer. Yeti Mama, agro
corporation.
Agro corporation. Yeti Mama agro. See, you have to pay me.
I have a business registered. I'm just not using it.
Yeti Mama Agro Corporations. So now Yeti Mama Agro Corporations now is on the Commodity Exchange Board. I know that Yeti Mama is selling 1 kg of chicken for a certain amount, right? So I can actually tell Yeti Mama that, okay, in March of 2023, I will buy this thing and this is the price.
That's futures.
And then I can give Yeti Mama that money because I know it will come. Then Yeti Mama on the hand, we now use that money to now invest.
Or some part of it.
Or some part of it to invest because I've made a down payment for it. because I know that that is what the price will look like.
And if the price is more than that, it doesn't matter. You already paid. I cannot come back in the future to now say this thing. So for me now, it now comes down to how do I hedge? I can also now hedge to minimize my risk also. So this is complex. We don't want to go into this complexity.
I know, but I'm just trying to make sure that we explain to our people very well that this is what Asiwaju is trying to profile, and there are going to be a lot of job opportunities coming out of here also.
Oh, yes.
Because what she has just said now, farmer, consumer, commodity exchange,
commodity traders, you can be an agent.
Yes, laborers. Because now the laborers know that the farmer knows that they can get paid. So he can hire them and say, work, you get paid because I've already been paid and we must produce this because we have to deliver in March.
Yes.
So it works well for everyone. Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's move quickly. Grain reserves and food storage. Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, that's one of his plans. So get him 2 minutes.
We already have that actually. Thanks to President Muhammadu Buhari. In fact, it's the first president, at least that I know, to actually have a grain.
Excuse me. What is the meaning of Latodun Totibimi? What does that mean?
Since I was born.
Okay. Thank you. Continue.
That actually did something that it came in handy. Unfortunately, due to greed, we didn't see the effect due to greed of some of our leaders. So we have a grain reserve that President Buhari actually did. I am sure if you guys have been following some of this, you've seen some grain pyramids, rice pyramids, maize pyramids all over. I think they have in Ondo State also. It's in Abuja. They have in different areas. And when COVID actually came, they took from there to actually distribute. Unfortunately, like I said, due to greed of some of our leaders, they put those in their house instead of distributing it to the people that actually needed it. So that is a different discussion. But that is the purpose of that. And it's not just going to be for grains. We're going to have food storage. This is what Asiwaju is proposing. So when I mentioned earlier that some challenges that our farmers had is also transporting their harvest to the market or storing their harvest. And so Asiwaju is proposing having storage facilities that we can, like here we call it like a refrigerated storage facilities. So like your tomatoes can be stored there because it's powered, it's going to be cool. So your food is not going to go to waste. We can't afford to be wasting because now if you invest 10 million and then everything's spoiled, which account, So that's those.
Do you mean the fresh produce storage facilities?
So it's going to have those, which that's called the refrigerated because that has to be refrigerated for fresh produce.
Like the one in Lagos, right?
Like the one in Lagos, yes. And then, like I said, there are actually private companies that are building that also because I was looking into it. Like I said, I have a business, I'm looking into that. So that is the kind of thing. As per Asiwaju, the plan is even to put some of these facilities in in the market too, that you can actually store what you didn't sell in the market today. You can actually get space and store it there. You probably will be able to pay something because if it's a private-public partnership, that means they'll probably charge something for it, which is okay,
Absolutely. It's not
but
free.
At least you store. It's not free, but at least you can store your goods there. There's no risk of them going bad. But that grain reserves, food reserves, we need those. It's done all around the world. Same thing is going to happen even in the oil and gas. We are going to have reserve that we are not selling this. We are keeping it for rainy day. So,
all right. Let us now move into how this will now affect the rural infrastructural development.
Well, that goes back into... Go on.
Talked about farm to market roads and all of those networks and all that. So
it still ties into it. Well, it still ties into it. That's what I was saying. The roads, we all know that the roads, even in the cities, are not good. They are just being improved on right now. So not to now talk of rural area. So a farmer that has 100 hectare of corn or of tomatoes now, for example, harvest, trying to get it to Lagos from Ogun State. The roads are terrible. They are stuck in the traffic for hours. That tomato is spoiled now. Half of the tomato with the heat and everything. We know here in America, you know, we do logistics business. So I know if you do, they transport agricultural produce here from Mexico. We get agricultural produce from Mexico, from South American countries to here through the vans, but the vans are refrigerated. So it keeps them cool. So even if they are stuck in traffic for hours, as far as the temperature setting is maintained, the produce are protected. There's no risk of loss or anything. So that's why we're talking about making sure our roads are good for our farmers, making sure they can have storage facility also close to the rural area so that they can, store their produce. And then when it comes to like irrigation also, which is a big issue for them because their lands, which,
now we are going in there. I actually talked about that, so go into that.
Irrigation. In fact, as a matter of fact, in Kano State currently, they started back some of their 4 initiatives now with irrigation that would, in fact, it would transform agriculture in that part of the north, in the northwest, because of the irrigation. We know that a lot of the challenges our farmers are having is from land degradation, and they don't have access to water to even do for their lands. So these are the reason why. Yes, that's due to climate change also.
Recharging the lake that some people didn't understand.
They didn't understand.
Lake, but they don't understand. They came out with their manifesto yesterday, but let's continue.
And so the green wall too.
The Ashwaji administration is planning on construction of all the small scale irrigation systems, irrigation water catchment areas that can help through public-private partnership. Because I know a lot of people are always like, well, how do you pay for this? Like I said, it takes government, it takes the political will to create the enabling environment to bring private people into it. You can partner with them. As a matter of fact, that is not something that is new. Under this administration, Cargill is in Nigeria. They partnered with Kebbi State. So it's not like it's something new. We always have joint ventures with all these organizations. They called him in, that's why. So these are things that is going to do, the water catchment area, the irrigation system. And then when it comes to people coming from outside Nigeria into Nigeria, because the nomads with their the herders bringing trying to find food for their animals too. A lot of it also is because they are having challenges. They don't have land that can grow anything. And that's why we have these initiatives going on now with the United Nations, the Sahel countries, which is Nigeria, Niger, Cameroon, Mali. They are partnering and doing this great green wall. If you've ever heard about it, if you've not heard about it, you can Google it and say, what is the Great Green Wall of Africa? It is a very, very big dream. Hopefully they can achieve it. They are planting. We want to try to revamp our land. We want to try to wake up the lands back. So that way they can stay there and do their thing without having to also bring the conflict into Nigeria, bringing their animals in and creating chaos in our own country also. So a lot of things are ongoing. It's a challenging time. I know that people might want to say, well, but then we also have the flood that just swept away all the farmlands. Yes, and that's because of our lakes and our rivers that have not been desilted in a very long time. A lot of it also have to do with our governors. We need to start holding our local representatives accountable. Our governors, our local government chairman, everything is not ecological. We need to ask them what they are using it for. This is not just the federal government. At least as Governor Wike has made us known recently, money given to our governors, we don't know what they used it for. Maybe we just need more transparency on the national and the local level. Then we can always ask the appropriate question.
Let me point something here. This is something that a lot of people have not realized in the Ashwaju Manifesto. And I was going to bring this up, but I didn't know when I'll bring it up. When you read Asiwaju's manifesto, he keeps talking about partnership with the state and local government. It is mentioned 1,000,001 times. I'm speaking figuratively here, so that they don't say Igbo said 1,000,001 times. How many letters are in the manifesto? Let me put the disclaimer out there. But he keeps mentioning state and local government. So guys, regardless of whoever you are supporting, there are 18 contestants on the ballot. Regardless of whoever you are supporting, if your state and local governments are not right, nothing can work for the most part. The federal government can only try. But if your local and state governments are not doing what they are supposed to do, like here that I live in Houston, they'll say, Houston, we have a problem. So right now, don't just focus only on the federal elections. Focus on the state, focus on the local, focus on the federal legislative and state legislative elections also. Focus on that councillorship elections also. It's very, very important.
Can I add something to that too?
Yes,
recently, Honorable Minister Fashola came on Channels TV, and he was talking about the projects that they did, and they were saying something about, oh, why is it that the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway has not been finished and all that, and he said that the federal representatives for those Lagos, Ogun, Ibadan on that side did not fight for funds during budgeting for that road. That they just assumed that it should be provided for on a larger scale. And it's because people don't push their own local representative for them to do something about, because the funding has to come from somewhere and somebody has to fight for those funds. And so if you obsess over the presidency alone, what about the other ones that are getting away that are actually important for your well-being, but most people are not paying attention to that? That is not controlled by the president. That is controlled by the people. So whoever you support, there are still other people in the chain of command that bring social economic benefits to the state based on your vote, and you should make those ones answer tough questions about budgeting, about funding, and how they come about taking care of you after you vote for them. That's my position.
Thank you very much. I can't see Yetunde anymore. I think she's.
I'm here.
I can see.
Can you hear me?
You have. Please, can you log out and log back in, because I can't see you, ma.
Okay, I can see her.
Okay, now she's left. She'll come back, so she'll send a request and I'll add her again. I wanted to support what you just said now. I want her to be here what I'm about to say, because she's our Greek person. Okay, I think she has sent a request. All right, let's see. Abracadabra. The more you look, the less you see.
The more you look, the more we see.
Can you hear me now?
I can see you now. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. All right. Now let me get back to my serious face. Guys, we have 774 local governments in Nigeria. We have 360 reps, federal reps in Nigeria. We have 109 senators in Nigeria. Now I can speak for Lagos, for example. In Lagos State, we have 24 federal representatives. And we have 40 state representatives. You see all these numbers that I've mentioned? Everybody is fighting for one particular money for the development of their own community. So that when they go back to their community for the election, they will not stone them pure water or stone them stone. Because they'll be like, what did you do for us? So that is why you need to elect people that will go and fight for you. That place is a dog-eat-dog world. Everybody is fighting over there. So you have to be able to push your agenda. I watched the interview that Barrister Bisiri was talking about.
Yes.
He said it. Lagos State, Ogun State, Oyo State, they are senators. Like, are they fighting for the money for this project? Because he was talking about Sukuk and how they get money and Sukuk and all of that stuff. Yes, I watched it. Guys, you need to be watching all these interviews. Channels TV, TVC, Arise TV, even though we know that they are FAKE, you know, just watch them for posterity's sake. Just watch them for posterity's sake. You know, so you can be abreast with all of these situations going on. Now, without further ado, we are going to move forward to farm cooperatives and access to finance, because we can all talk about all the beautiful ideas and ideologies, and this is what we plan and propose to do. But then there's that question: how will agriculture people or agric people or farmers or people that want to invest in farming or people that want to invest in silos? Now, for example, you want to build silos, or you want to build you want to invest in storage facilities. How will these people get funding? Farm cooperatives, access to finance.
So currently, that in fact, since time immemorial, we have Bank of Agriculture in Nigeria. I'm hoping that people know that. We've always had cooperative. Is there anything in Nigeria that doesn't have cooperative? Even the pepper sellers, they have cooperative. Shoemakers, they have cooperative. There is cooperative. They have cooperative already.
Hold on. Is that Komule Lantern? Lapo?
No, not Komule Lantern. Komule Lantern is microfinance loan. The thing is that a lot of the way they go after the debtors, it's technically illegal. But Nigerians don't know how to fight for themselves. That's why they've been abused. Because it is your own responsibility as an organization to issue loan to someone that can pay back. You are supposed to go to their shops to value what they have, and then base your loan that you're going to give them based on the value of the asset they are using to secure the loan. But when you fail in that duty, and these people that you loaned money to couldn't pay back, and then you are going to their area carrying megaphone and say, Yasikira, come out, come and pay. All those kind of things.
Let me say something before we go there. Let me say something before we go to. I'm sorry for bringing. No, I would say I'm sorry, but bringing the Komule Lantern or Lapo. A lot of people may not know the meaning of Komule Lantern.
That's Lapo. Lapo is Lapo.
And Lapo, I saw something somewhere that Lapo is actually one of the highest employers of labor. I was shocked. Lapo Cooperative are one of the highest employers of labor in Nigeria.
It's microfinance, yes.
Shocking. Now, what I wanted to say, I've even missed my chain of thoughts about
I think it shows that financing in
agriculture is something that you cannot lose. That is very lucrative. If what the Tinubu administration is trying to do more, is the farm cooperative, when feasible, of course, they are going to encourage voluntary participation, not like nobody will be forced to be part of a cooperative. The benefit of a cooperative is that it's easier to deal with the government when it is cooperative, because it's a collective people. They can say, you guys put money into cooperative. So if your cooperative is 200,000 naira every month that you guys are contributing, if your cooperative is 10 of you guys, if you guys are worth like 15 million or 50 million naira now, if you want to go and get money, a loan or something from government, they are looking at the strength of your cooperative, because those people are already technically like your guarantor. So, so it's helpful. But Tinubu administration is not just going to walk through cooperative. Even if you don't belong to a cooperative, they will give a priority just like now, because people always say they buy, exchange is 700 and something. But if you are doing something, say you want to buy machines for your agriculture, this thing, you can get money for that at the official exchange rate, because we don't build agricultural machines in Nigeria. But government is going to give you loans because they want you to transition. We are trying to move people more from just my small land to more mechanized farming. Because the goal that we are aspiring to get there, we can't get there with just this small thing. We need people, we need bold moves. So that is what Ashua just said. We are going to make it more transparent. We are going to revamp Bank of Agriculture to live up to its responsibilities, because they are not doing it now, and there are so many shadiness going on. It's not transparent. So there will be process improvement to make the process more efficient. So the efficiency is not there, is lacking. So we are going to do that. We have the Anchor program that is ongoing, which Bongoli talked about it earlier, about people not being able to pay. I'm trying to believe that the reason why some people have challenges, not all, some people have challenges paying, is because we know of the security situation in the north that has not been, people have not been able to go to the farm because of the security challenges. And then some people, because of the COVID and all this that happened, people can't even work. The whole world technically was shut down in 2020. So, but you know, a lot of things affected people. People's financial status changed all around the world globally. So, but government is trying to work. The difference between getting the anchor loan from CBN and getting it from microfinance is that at least CBN now is not sending people after you and locking you in there. When you go to their office, they will lock you in one closet. Now somebody, you know, all those things. So CBN is not doing that. So it's still safer to go through government, and government is really trying.
Let me make us laugh a little bit. People are more scared of the Lapo people than police, than the court of law in Nigeria. And it's funny because I've watched, there's this show called Justice Court that I watch. I watch it every week. I don't miss it. And in Justice Court, when they bring people in, some people rather owe people money than owe cooperatives. Because you'll be like, oh yes, I didn't pay your money back because I had to pay cooperative. But you borrowed a higher amount of money from cooperative than me. Then why don't you just give me my money back? It's easier. No. And also you talked about, for example, maybe government giving loans or people giving loans and all of that stuff. And you don't do your due diligence in going to actually check, is this person worth this loan? Is it a Nigerian thing?
It is a Nigerian thing.
Because people come and meet you and say, please, can you borrow me money? Can you borrow me money and I'll pay you back? But that person may not have the capacity or capability to pay back.
Yeah, but you know, but the difference is this. When you are loaning money on a personal thing, it's different. When you are a business, a registered financial organization, and you know the rules by what, because my brother was a banker before he traveled, and you know, he will share these stories. They know the rules that but these people, the employees, they have a number of people they have to bring in every month. They have quota. So a lot of our bankers going out there to look for customers are not really doing they are not trying to weed out anybody. They are opening accounts that don't even qualify because they are trying to meet quota. The managers of those branches cannot feign ignorance that they didn't know. They knew. But they still went ahead and did it. And it's not just the microfinance, even our banks. A lot of our banks are actually, it's government that is propping them, it's CBN that is helping them. They would have gone under because they issued a lot of loans that were not supposed to be issued. A lot of loans were issued, and then at the end of the day, when this person didn't pay back, they went to look at the address the person wrote, and it turns out it's just one cemetery. It's not a real address.
Yes, so, unfortunately.
So there are some, that's why I said that it's not just when we say government, even in private organization, we have lapses, we have inefficiencies in everything. And that's where hopefully the government of Tinubu, working in partnership with the private sector, can collaborate together and see how we can bring sanity back into the system.
Now, last but not least, go ahead.
Before we go, he mentioned something, a technical word there. He said economies of scale. And
yes.
That's in paragraph 2 of farm cooperatives. And it says, which would otherwise have been out of reach, giving farmers the ability to produce more food at affordable prices. You know what that means, right? Because I know some people might read it and not really know, and they may not want to go into a dictionary to check it. Is this something you can explain?
So if you have access to finance, that's when you can say, I'm growing my business. Economies of scale is being able to expand beyond your small area. And as a matter of fact, that is another benefit of being in cooperative. Because if I'm growing corn and you are growing something, the cost that it cost me to do this, if it's something that it depends on how we are doing it, is it vertically or horizontally that you want to do your scale? It depends on what, it's just like, let me use an example. Say like Walmart now, for example, here. Let me use Johnson & Johnson. That is a company that we all know. So Johnson & Johnson, we know what they do. They do drugs and all this stuff. But what Johnson & Johnson did was they bought the company that was actually supplying them the chemical to do some of their products. So now they don't need to pay. That's not supply. They don't need to worry about the supply chain problem anymore, because now they are in control of it. So you can scale your business. In the case of these people now, if you belong to a cooperative, in your cooperative, it's not just people growing corn that is there. You probably have people also that are growing cassava. You have people that do agricultural, agro-allied, so like the chemical, the seed and all that. You can easily establish economy of scale because you have this already. A lot of the middleness can be cut out, because you can trade and say, okay, this for this. It's easy to do that. So you'll be able to grow easier. So yeah. And the finance will help. Yeah.
Now, we are going to the final phase. And then once we hit the final phase, then guys can ask questions. I will call it a day. So guys, Ashwaju, in this last section on agriculture, Ashwaju talks about land cultivation.
Yes.
From 35 to 65%. And he talked about how we're going to go about it. He says, hey, I am going to this is going to be another way of creating employment.
Yes.
So can you speak on that? Because we need manpower and we need machines or machinery. Cultivate the land from 35% to 65% in 4 years. So that is the last paragraph on agriculture. Please, could you speak to that in 2 minutes? So,
I was reading, I think it was last month. Is it BUA they call it, or BAU? The other man besides Dangote. Rabiu.
Yeah,
do you know how much land this man just bought recently? And he wants to be using it for rice farming and cassava and stuff, I think. And so in this case, we have of our land that we have, we're only using 35%. We are trying to go to 65. Of course, we know government cannot be in everything and government cannot do anything. At the end of the day, we still try to operate a capitalist society, not really a socialist society, even though there's a lot of social welfare that Ashwaju's administration is proposing and is planning to do, even with building on Buhari's welfare stuff that he's already doing. What happens is that partnering with private organization, private investment, giving them like tax incentives, tax breaks and all that, these are ways that we can bring investors even into agriculture. As we speak today, there are investors coming into Nigeria from China, from South America, to invest in agriculture in Nigeria, even though our home people are running away from agriculture. It's kind of weird because they see the benefit. They know that if they invest in a country of over 200 million people with 3.6% annual growth rate, they will never lose. You can't invest in food and lose. Simple as ABC, people have to eat. And now, attaching that also to a lot of frameworks that are being fixed, a lot of bottlenecks that are being removed currently, and will continue to work on it. And this is not just me saying it. Even the World Bank agreed that a lot of regulatory frameworks have been revamped. They are continuing to work on it. This administration has been doing a lot when it comes to agriculture. They've really helped. And when Ashwaji is saying that I will build on President Buhari's achievement, this is one of the areas that he has achieved, and the Tinubu administration is going to build on, is agriculture. So I told you we have Cargill in Nigeria. Cargill is not a small business. You can Google it yourself, but they are in Nigeria. They actually partnered with Nigeria, one of our states, when it comes to rice and a lot of our agricultural produce. They are doing it. We have the Mota rice mill now that is in Lagos. We have a lot of other ones now. There's one that will probably open up in Badagry. They are doing stuff in Badagry. In fact, recently, I think some people from America here, African Americans, they came to Nigeria. They are trying to buy up land and start agribusiness in Nigeria. So yes, investors are coming into Nigeria. Then with the tax system, the regulatory frameworks that Africa is trying to do now through the AFCTA, so that they can have tax waivers moving goods within Africa that we can trade, that makes trading easy. So when you even have this, your produce, and you want to sell it to other part of Africa, it's easy because now they have the AFCTA in place. We also, when you are thinking about agriculture, don't think of only just Nigeria, because remember, Nigeria is also part of a bloc. We are part of the ECOWAS bloc. So that is also there. So you're not selling to just Nigeria. Think about the other countries within the ECOWAS bloc. And guess what? The distance makes things, it's a benefit to you because they are closer to you. You will even sell there. A lot of our farmers right now, they are selling to other parts of Africa. In fact, there's a lady, you can Google it too, they call her Queen of Cassava in Nigeria. In 2021, she made a revenue of $13 million in Nigeria on cassava. The lady that was supposed to come talk to us today, that unfortunately she couldn't come because of her, she was having some personal issue. She herself has been in agriculture for 20 years, and she's one of our agri queen in Nigeria. OK groups. So she's so there are people doing well. It's just that, you know, because our people like instant gratification, we want that quick money. Agriculture is something that you have to be persistent. You have to love it like a child. You have to baby it, and then it will start giving you what you want.
All right. Thank you.
So can I add one thing quickly? Because she mentioned it too, the vertical integration of agribusiness. Ashwaju mentioned that too here. And I don't know if that is tied to the number 3, where it says locate food processing and semi-processing machinery and plants nearby to the new farming sites. So yes. I'm thinking, because of what you said about vertical integration, where you can be the producer and be the processor. You know, you process the food into final product, and you also produce the raw material from the farm itself.
Exactly.
And, you know, that is vertical. So with this locating food processing and semi-processing machinery closer to this farm, it makes people with better ideas of how to turn it into a final product. If you have some other things to say about it.
Yes, you're correct. Because I think, it was someone too, we're talking about it, like if you say, for example, they help you manage your farms, they are farm managers, so they help you with the management and everything. But when it comes to selling it too, if you don't even want to go, they already have part of the people in your cooperative, there are people that are already the buyers too. They turn it into turn your corn into whatever it is they want to turn it to. Turn your cassava into starch, they get their starch there. So it's already there. They are close by. That is another benefit. Same thing with the machinery that you said, because it makes it easier. When you have all this, you can easily achieve economies of scale because you have all this available to you.
All right. All right. Thank you. Because if we leave you to carry us to where we don't know. You will carry us to go where we don't know. They carry me to go where I know. All right. So guys, this is the section I know that you all have been waiting for. It is a question and answer section. So you have the opportunity. Okay, we still have less than 15 minutes. This is the opportunity to ask questions. Please, what are your agriculture questions? And we will answer these questions to the best of our abilities as regards what the Ashwaju plan is or plans are. Please, we are waiting for your questions. Agri questions, please. What I should have done, I should have told them to start asking their questions already, and then I'll have just the questions.
Yes.
Maybe next week. Next week we are speaking on power next week, right? Yeah, I think it's power.
Yes, power. Yes.
Power.
It is
Power
power.
is speech therapy. That one is very interesting.
So while we are waiting, my Miss here today, what do you think about the 11 river basins throughout the country? It says this farm project will begin with a special focus on 11 river basins. Is that more about propping up the availability of irrigation?
Irrigation.
Okay, because I know there's one in Ogun State. My uncle used to be the chief accountant there. Ogun River Basin Authority, and
Yes.
I don't know if it still exists or not, but there's a lot of good produce coming out of there. They manage a lot of farms. Do you think improving this river business will help the farmers in what they want to do?
It should, because like we said, when we have this whole climate change thing going on, if our rivers, just like, for example, with what happened recently with the flooding with River Benue, we know that wasn't also, it was one of the major problems with it was the fact that these rivers have not even been, they've not done desilting for them for over a year, for years. Desilting means that, like you would know me, it's when you have silt, like when we have ice days.
Okay, let me explain.
Explain it. Break it down in a simple English.
In layman's terms.
In layman. I don't know how to say it in layman.
Okay, guys, let's look at gutters, for example. If you go and look at your gutter now, you will see that there is sand. When the water dries up, you will see sand there. So imagine that when rain is falling, that water cannot go anywhere to keep on building on that sand. And before little rain, it will begin to overflow. And that is why you go and see people digging that sand out or digging all those from the gutters. That is the layman's meaning of desilting. Now think about it like you have a river or an ocean, and then you now have that sand build up underneath. So what you'll be doing is you go there and go and take that sand out. And I cannot use that sand to build or do whatever you want to do with the sand, but then that water volume will go down. So when that rain comes, or when there is that level rise in water, it's not going to overflow its banks. That is the meaning of desilting. That is just the basic layman's meaning. We can go in depth and start.
Yes, that is the layman. Yes.
Let me explain it that way.
So because they've not done it over years, now any water that goes in there is just overflowing. But if they had been digging it, it probably wouldn't have happened. So same thing with our rivers now. At least we can do something about it and help with the irrigation. That we can even do more pipes to create, like what is said in the previous page, I think, about catchment areas, for water catchment areas. That might make it easy to get water to those catchment areas.
I think there's someone asked a question. Yeah. How will you support community farming in the towns and cities? For example, in the UK, we have allotments. So I don't know if that is related to catchment areas and all of those things, but that's a question. I think there's another question. That one is security related, securing farm. So that is one question. Yeah, but this one is... Okay, hold on. Questions are coming in. Hold on. Plenty questions are coming. Oh, they say Senegal has left. I know. Something was telling me in my mind that they have knocked out Senegal. Something was telling me. But let us continue. Can the lady explain how Asiwaju is going? So now, let's go with that first. Okay, let's go with the security question first. How will Asiwaju secure farmers?
First off, I wish the person that asked this question was here when we talked about security, because that was one of the things we talked about, the farmer header issue and the issue of banditry. And I think that was last week or 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
So to just briefly cap it, when it comes to issue of banditry, we know that is like an internal crisis that we are facing now. And then there's the issue of the farmer header fight. The issue of the other farmers fight, it has to do with like I said before, a lot of this cattle, they need food for them. The land that grows the food is dry. They cannot get anything. They are migrating to come to where there is a fertile land where they can feed them. Unfortunately, they are also going into people's farm, and that is creating problem and then chaos. One thing you need to keep in mind is that some of these people are not even from Nigeria. They are from some of our neighboring countries in Africa that they are already going through the severe effect of climate change when it comes to desertification, land degradation, and all of this. And that is where the Great Green Wall comes in. The conflict in Libya, in Mali, is also fueling all these things. People are moving from all that, the sub-Sahara countries, they are moving and coming. Nigeria is still like a safe haven, but then these are nomads. They really don't answer to, they are not Nigerians, they just happen to come through our border because our border is so porous. We have over 360 borders, but only like 137 of them is secured. So it's easy to come into Nigeria. So what will happen when it comes to banditry and all that, it will be more of a security thing that Asiwaju himself has already detailed, using technology to fight this. We have the drone service, hiring more hands, because currently we don't even have enough police, we don't have enough military officers. Military should not be doing the work of internal securing us internally. Their job is to protect us from external aggression. Unfortunately, currently, that is what they are doing. They are doing both. They are in everywhere, and they cannot be everywhere. They are limited. They are in southeast, southwest, south, northeast, northwest, north central. There's nowhere they are not. So Asiwaju's administration is going to put more money into more investment into our security outfit to protect us internally and protect us, of course, from external aggression too. And partnering our neighbors in sub-Saharan Africa, and of course our international partners when we talk about United Nations, World Bank, and all of this, to make sure that they can get done with what they are doing to help the to help the situation in those sub-Saharan countries. So those people don't even have the need to have to come into our own country to create chaos. Of course, we also know that, let me say this one point. We also know that poverty is also breeding a lot of criminality in our society. When we have shared economic prosperity, we can also hopefully stem the tide of criminality, and people will not have to resort into kidnapping people from the farm to ask for ransom. So fingers crossed.
All right. Thank you very, very much. Now, people have been sending barrages of questions, shockingly. Today they asked
we can't take everything, so we have to be on time.
I know. 1 minute. Second question is, how will Asiwaju support community farming in towns and cities? Said in the UK we have allotments. That question is a bit above my head. So what does that mean? And can you answer?
I'm trying to understand what they mean by allotment. Can that person because I don't understand. If you are trying to say like in the US now, we have something called...
The person just put allotments owned by local governments and are rented by the people in the the area to grow fruit and vegetables in cities and in towns.
Okay. Well, that is actually part of the thing that he was talking about. We want to move from 35% of our land being used to 65% of our land being used. And that is also trying to clear a lot of our land that we are currently not using now, clearing it, having it there for people. You can either lease it. That is ongoing actually right now. A lot of states, you can lease land from them. I know of people that lease land from Oyo State government. So and that is already ongoing for agriculture.
And it's also in partnership with the local government.
It's in partnership with, that is ongoing.
Because
Ashwaju made mention of it. Yeah, absolutely. Nice question, though. Ashwaju made mention of working with the state and local government.
Yes. Because you see a lot of private companies now doing agriculture. What they do is, they partner with the bales, which is the head of that village. Then they will assign. They can assign 100 acres or whatever to them. You just pay them something and then you are farming on it. Like even personally talking in a personal matter, like my dad's land in Nasarawa, we actually, because we were not using it, it's just sitting there. My dad was like, okay, somebody asked if he could be farming there. My dad said, it's okay, be farming there. And that person just farms on the land because it's just sitting there. So that is something that is ongoing currently. At least in the north, it's ongoing, and I can tell you that in the southwest is happening. I don't know about other area. I cannot speak to it.
Thank you very much. Another question, then we'll have a last question. I will call it today. How will Asho? This one is a very specific question, so I don't know how you are going to answer this one anyway. How will Ashwaju support for Ofada farmers? How will you support Ofada farmers? Especially with the destoning machine.
Yes. So first off, we know that is a capital-intensive project. So what most likely will happen is that is what Mr. Sheyi was talking about, the economies of scale. When you have people with the machine in those communities and they can do it for you. Except, of course, if you are trying to have your own milling machine, which, to tell you, I actually researched that you need at least maybe 50 to 80 million naira to have a small milling machine. Wow. Yeah, that is a lot of money. So, and for a small farmer, you really cannot afford it. But it will be good if the Ashwaju's administration, like he said, they will make funds available for not just people growing, not just for growers, but for people that are going to do agro-allied, like chemical seedling and all that, and for people that are going to do maybe the equipment and all that. So if those ones are available, all you have to do is your company contracting to them to do that, and then that's it.
Now, so this makes a lot of sense, because I remember like last year I was driving around a certain area and in the countryside here in Texas, and I was seeing that they were using some equipment, heavy machinery, to do some work on a farmland. And I was asking the question, is it this farmer that owns it? The person said, no, it's not the farmer that owns it. That someone else owns it, but they rent, and then they come and do the job. So I'm thinking that is what.
Even in construction, because we have a friend here, a friend of my husband, like even as of 2014, for example, he shipped, because my husband will help him source for it here. These payloaders to like bulldozers and all this equipment stuff for construction, and contractors just rent from them. So it's just going to be something like that you can just take your produce and give them, they clean it or whatever, ship it back to you, you bag it, or you can just sell it to them, and then they will do whatever they want to do.
1 minute, final question, and we round it up because we are sticking to time. 1 minute, we're rounding it up. Now, this one is a foreign policy type question.
Okay.
But still related to Agric. And definitely, Madam Yetunde and Barrister Bisiru, you guys are going to speak on this. And this is the end. Will the Westerners allow Nigeria export food for profit?
Let me say this.
You pause.
We are already doing. No, the reason why I did that is because there's no. We are doing that. There's no.
Hold on. Before you go your chain of thought, I hope you understand the deep meaning to that question.
If they will not know,
the deep meaning to the question.
the question is asking if they will not lowball us, or if they will not lowball our farmers. Well, now.
Is it my internet? Okay, it's your, okay, go ahead.
It is the responsibility of your own government. Nigerians have the primary responsibility of Nigerian government. Nigerian government are not answerable to foreign powers. They are answerable to Nigerians themselves. We can say that, oh, will they protect us? Well, that is where the commodity board also comes in. It doesn't matter who is buying it from you. If your government already put a minimum they can bid on it, they can't go below that. It doesn't matter if they are the number one, the world power, whoever they are. Like anybody with money, if there's a reason we all go to the market, we haggle for price too. If you tell me I will buy 1 yard of lace for 20,000 naira, will I just pay for it? I want the cheapest now. But if my government already set it, the commodity exchange board already says for 1 ton of gari, you are going to pay 7,000 naira. That is the minimum. So if these people come, they might not pay more than that, but they can't pay less than that. So that is where the government is protecting its own people. So if you now feel that it's still not happening, then you need to hold your own government accountable and ask them what they're doing. And that is what Ashwaju is trying to do, talking about the Commodity Board Commission.
Let's now move it to Barrister Bisiri, and then we're done. We finish everything. Barrister Bisiri, what do you have to say to that?
So what I was going to say is about the commodity boards too, because that it's a safe haven for farmers.
Yes.
To have a board that protects them against something like that. Then we also have to consider beyond that, when you are exporting, because now we are Nigerians here, we eat amala, we eat ewedu, we eat all this stuff, and some Nigerians will call us and say, are you getting amala there? Are you getting love? I say, I'm eating the same lafu like you. And why is that happening? It's because there is freedom of transaction between states, and most of this goes through the policy of Nigeria and that specific state, depending on the embassy and other agreements, other economic agreements between those states. So it might not be uniform across all states, but it will have some specific differences. But the farmer at the bottom with the board is protected based on the product from the farm. Then everything else that happens from shipment to the port and getting on the ship and getting to Nigeria, to America, and the processing, that might take a different set of value chain.
Value chain, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So with the board, I believe that they will be protected.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Thank you all very much. I hope that the amount of people that have watched us today may have learned 1 or 2 things about Ashwaju's plan as it relates to agriculture. I want to say a very big thanks to Barrister Bisiriyu. Also, a very big thanks to our Agric, a lady that I know wears plenty hats.
Yeah, over smart, too much, too smart.
We wear so many hats, so many hats. So we want to thank you very much, and thank all our audience also, because without you guys, there will be no us. Until same time next week, God's willing, we'll be speaking on power.
Yes.
It's going to be very interesting. The power is one of my strong points.
That's you.
We have a special, we may have a guest speaker also.
Okay.
But power is more like my strong point. Is one of where I can flex muscle a little bit, even though I don't talk much about it. So I'll be able to answer a whole lot of your questions. We using this manifesto. This is the manifesto here. Easy to read, easy to comprehend, not copy, devoid of typographical errors.
Why are you preparing for Tuesday now? Why are you preparing for Tuesday already?
No, I'm just saying.
You have to close this now. You are already prepared. Let Madam Yetunde go and do the job on Tuesday.
No, I'm just saying power. I'm only just saying we're talking about power next week, and I'm also telling the people that they should read this manifesto. Like, even just read it to know what expectations are. Like I always say, I've never told anybody vote for my candidate or my principal. I always say, I think my candidate is the best. And these are the reasons why my candidate is the best. I want we as Nigerians to start using, more of us to use our brains to know what right and wrong is. And look at issues with facts, not emotions. Facts and not emotions. Until same time next week.
I will just say one thing. There's nothing wrong with emotions, but because politics is sometimes emotional. But the thing is, they should look at the options across board, listen to what people have to say. Because there was a comment about, Obi's manifesto is out, Priye is waiting for you on Tuesday, and I just laughed that we are also preparing. We have to hold back, not to say too much today, because we have already done our justice on that. So,
let me tell them something, guys. When the manifesto came out yesterday, that manifesto, I read everything from back to front. Some people in my team have already read it back to front. We have already analyzed it. We have broken it down. Like, we have opened everything. We have seen where they were to get the information from. That's all I will say. Until this same time next week, have a wonderful Sunday. Me, I want to go and cook right now. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.